Okay. All right. I'm going to start doing these lives where I'm just going to start getting into it sooner rather than later because I know different people come in at different times. So if you are, if you are a returning subscriber, please shout yourself out. If you are new, also shout yourself out. Okay, so I can give you a welcome, nice warm welcome, because that's how we do it here. Did my light just go? Guys, this is just, I just need to invest in a new ring light. I guess this one is run its course. So peoples, welcome to Intuitive Vibes, Narc Survival 101. All right, if you are new, checking it out for the first time, stick with us. You might, learn some things, maybe things that you haven't necessarily, acknowledged in the past, or you might actually learn that, well, we've all learned that a lot of people have gone through a lot of the bullshit that we have gone through. And, we need to pretty much be here for one another. So if you are new, yeah, hang out for a little bit, see what it is that we get into. And of course, check out my other videos on my channel. I like to create videos that are designed for any little bit and piece of dealing with a narcissist or dealing with people who are extremely narcissistic or extreme manipulators, whichever works for you. All right. So just keep in mind that it's not just about narcissists, but it could be about people who have narcissistic traits. It can be about people who have mental health issues. It can be about people who are just straight up pathological liars. So, definitely check out the videos, check out, I guess, whatever it is that's going on in your life, or if you have certain things that are, because like I said, these videos are designed to help you really decipher certain things and to help you understand why you went through it, why you're going through it, and, in some cases, why you need to go through it. Okay, because dealing with a narcissist, the end result is we learn who we truly are. So we definitely have to keep that in mind. And of course, to my returning subscribers, the ones who are able to make it to this live and the ones who are not able to make it, but they do manage to get to the video when it's streamed, welcome back, guys. So what I wanted to talk about in this particular live, I actually became a little bit more organized in the different subjects that I wanted to cover. And, kind of doing, this will be the crash course. This will be the crash course video in learning about the different types of narcissists that we have either come across, that we are still currently dealing with, whether it be romantic relationships, whether it be your family, whether it be coworkers or anybody just in your midst. A lot of these different things are important for us to learn because we need to be on guard. Everybody needs to be on guard. Everybody needs to understand that dealing with these types of people, it's not a game. It really is not a game. And if you're dealing with someone who is emotionally, mentally, and in some cases physically abusive, you have to really be on guard and be able to protect yourself, during these times. So the first thing that I wanted to discuss was, familiarizing ourselves with the behaviors of narcissists. Now, everybody has dealt with a narcissist at least once in their life. Everybody is probably going to deal with a narcissist at least once in their life. But if you're able to familiarize yourself with the certain types of behaviors, you probably can maybe stop things before they get worse, or possibly stop things before they even start. So just keep in mind that these are some of the behaviors, not all of them. Not every narcissist will respond the same way. Not every narcissist will do all of these things. But if you can get the idea from one experience, chances are you can correlate it with another. So now the first one we're going to basically go into is the selfishness and inconsideration. All right. Narcissists have this, it's self-fulfilling ego. It's pretty much I'm going to fulfill my ego. I'm going to do what's necessary for me. I'm going to, you know, contribute very little and make sure that you contribute the majority. All right. Now, let's talk about compromise. Compromise is a deal breaker for them. All right. Compromising means relinquishing a form of control. Now, we know that narcissists need to be in control all the time. They need to be in control of not only their lives and how they do things in their lives, but they need to be in control of the dynamic that they have with you. Okay. They need to be able to listen. I'm big on autonomy. You know, autonomy is good in a relationship. It's healthy. Autonomy in a relationship is healthy. But when you are dealing with someone who is in a relationship, but they're acting single, that's a problem. Okay. Where it's just, you're here, I'm here when I want to be. But in this case, when you are trying to get them to compromise, if you're trying to get them to see your perspective or see where you're coming from, you are more than likely going to be met with aggression. You're going to be met with attitude, of course, because now they're going to basically try to flip it on you and saying that you're trying to control them. You're trying to tell them what to do. You're trying to, pretty much be the puppeteer and they're the puppet. When the reality is that compromise is is natural within a relationship. Now, they look at it as you look at it as compromise, they look at it as sacrifice. There's a big difference between those two, okay? You look at it as compromise, they look at it as sacrifice. And if they have to sacrifice anything pertaining to their lives or pertaining to themselves, that is relinquishing control. And a narcissist will not relinquish control, especially to someone that they are trying to control in a situation. Now, these again can be your lovers, they could be your friends, this can be your parents, this can be anybody that you are dealing with that may be narcissistic, that is a narcissist. So you have to keep in mind, you got to basically put it where it fits. Okay, put it where it fits. Now the second one is their problems are more important than yours. Now, you have problems, they have problems, I have problems, we all have problems. But how they look at it is this: your problems are minuscule. Your problems are not as great as theirs. Your problems are your problems. So if you are dealing with a narcissist, let's say you're in a relationship with one, and you have a problem that has come about in your life and you're trying to figure that out, naturally you're going to try to go to your partner and rely on them to maybe help you out, just like you would do for them. So if you have an issue, if you have, certain problems going on in your life, their take on it is, well, what do you want me to do? And it's not asking you in that sense of, what can I do for you? What can I do to help? It's, what do you want me to do? I have my own shit to deal with, so now I have to deal with yours too. When you're dealing with narcissists, guys, understand that, again, they are about themselves. They are about taking care of themselves. They are about doing what will benefit them. Okay? The next one, they make decisions without considering the consequences. Narcissists are considered to be, how you doing, relaxed. Narcissists are considered to be the type of people, just like I've mentioned before, they make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. That's a form of impulsivity. They can be impulsive. And they can be impulsive in any aspect of their lives, guys. They can be impulsive in how they, treat you. They can be impulsive in how they would steer the relationship. They can be impulsive in finances. I mean, you have narcissists that can be, extreme gamblers. They like to live kind of, this is more bordering sociopath, but they like to pretty much live a little bit on the wild side. So they're very big on oh my gosh, what is the word for it? just had the word at the tip of my tongue, but impulsivity is a very big thing when it comes to narcissists. They are just pretty much, you know, life's too short. That's kind of like my take on how they look at it. Life's too short, and it's too short for me to stay focused on just one thing, even though this one thing can be healthy. See, how they look at things is this way: what's healthy for them is not necessarily beneficial for them. Okay, it's not necessarily beneficial. So we as normal people know that what is healthy for us would be considered beneficial for us. But a narcissist, on the other hand, what is with this light? Oh my gosh, what is healthy for them, what can be deemed as healthy, if it's not beneficial to their ego, if it's not beneficial to, whatever their agenda is, they will not take it into consideration. If they have to make sacrifices, if they have to do certain things in order to create a dynamic that creates a healthy foundation, that has a healthy setting, if they have to do work, let's just put it that way. If they have to do work, what would be considered healthy, if it's not beneficial to them, in the sense of, if I have to do work to get this, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. We all know that we got to put in the work, and we all know that we have to do inner work in order to be able to have healthy relationships, in order to be able to maintain a healthy relationship. But people who are born, I'm not even going to say born, people who are raised within extreme toxicity, they don't know healthy. They don't know healthy ways of thinking. They don't know healthy ways of, managing. They don't know any of that. What they know is, I do whatever I can do to get whatever it is that I want, even if it means stomping all over you. That's the easiest way for them. That's the easiest way. Now, the next one is, they do not consider others' feelings. Their desires are pretty much all that matters. So they don't care about what you feel. Okay. I know in relationships, whether you're dealing with a narcissist or you're dealing with someone who's extremely narcissistic, in relationships, they're going to give you the impression that they care. They're going to give you impressions that they are there for you, that they take you seriously, that they, admire you, whatever the case may be. This is love bombing, okay? Everyone knows how relationships go. Everyone knows how the steps go. You meet someone, you get to know the person, you know their likes, their dislikes. You basically learn the ins and outs, because if you have, mutual interest in someone, you learn these things about the other person. And then you decide whether or not you can, how I do it is, I decide whether or not I can tolerate a person. It's not so much that I don't, I don't like you, or I don't, certain things about you, that it's just, I can respect who you are as a person, but if I cannot tolerate certain things that you do, or certain things that you say, or whatever the case may be, then it's just not going to click. It's not going to, because then it's just going to be an issue. You're basically, if you notice certain things about another person, if you're interested in someone, and it's certain things that you're looking at, I don't know if I can tolerate this. I don't know if I can, if you don't nip it in the bud, it's going to get worse as time goes on. So certain things that someone shows you, you have to believe them. You have to believe them. I mean, in this case, if it looks red flaggish, believe it. If it seems too good to be true, it's okay to be on guard with it, because you just don't know if it's true or not. I mean, people who are too good to be true are people who are wearing the false masks. They are portraying themselves to be one way, but the reality of it is that they're going to slip eventually. But someone who has managed to show you who they are throughout, meaning for a long period of time, they never skipped a beat, it never changed. You never really, felt any kind of issues or red flags with them. Chances are they're more genuine, and they have, they're just basically there to have the same thing that you're there for. To get to know you. Let me move this over here. To get to know you, to, just basically have some kind of peace within a dynamic with you, because they are genuinely interested in you. Narcissists, sociopaths, they use charm. They use, you guys got to pay attention too, because when you're getting to know someone, especially with people that may be extremely narcissistic, or, they may be sociopaths, they want to know things about you, but they are very restrictive on the information that they give you about themselves. They want to learn you. They want to ask you questions. They want to know all that you can possibly inform them. But they are very secretive. They are very mysterious. They're the types that, I'll feed you a little bit, but of course, if you're going to ask more questions, they may try to elude. They may try to be like, yeah, no, it was, they'll brush it off. So you have to be careful when you're dealing with people, especially when you're meeting people for the first time. Okay, so the next one is they'll put you on the back burner for what they deem to be important people. So I don't know if you're familiar with this, but if you're in a relationship with a narcissist and you notice how one minute they're all about you, they're with you, whatever the case may be, and then the next minute it's like, it just seems like they push you to the back seat because they're putting someone else in the front seat. They're putting someone else ahead of you. Now, me personally, I don't like that. I don't like shit like that, because whether I'm your girlfriend, I'm your best friend, whether I'm your relative, whatever the case may be, if you are going to minimize my role for someone else, and I've been here all this time, all of a sudden someone else comes in and you're like, well, you know what, this person's coming over, or whatever the case may be, so you're just going to kind of push me to the side to deal with whomever that is. That lets me know that my level of importance has been pretty much demoted. They will demote your importance. So if they feel that other people that will possibly, I want to say, boost up their image, boost up their ego, or it just something within their mind that they look at other people and they'll say, well, you know what, this person is more interesting to me at this precise moment, so I'm gonna shit on you and I'm gonna deal with this person. And of course, if you try to bring it to their attention and you tell them, well, that shit wasn't cool what you did, like you're just pushing me aside, and they'll make you appear to be the crazy one. They'll make you appear to be like, oh, you complain too much. Oh, what are you talking about? But this person is, and listen, everybody's different. Me personally, relatives, friends, whatever. Unless it's your kids, the only way I will ever consider being, in a compromising position where I feel a certain kind of way, but it's okay, is if it's your kids. If you put your kids ahead of me, that's perfectly fine, because I would put my kid ahead of you. So I really don't have any issues with that. But when it comes to other people, and it's just like, I'm going to shit on you because now I'm entertaining someone else, or I'm entertaining someone at this precise moment. No, that doesn't rock with me. Everybody's different, but that doesn't rock with me. Now, as far as communication is concerned, the communication with a narcissist can go one of many ways. The first one is, they dominate, or they'll interrupt your conversations. And it's pretty much because what they speak of is more worthwhile. So if you are speaking with someone, let's just say that person is a narcissist, you're speaking with them, they will, interrupt during the conversation. So if you're mentioning something, or if you're telling a story, they will, pretty much take over, and for some reason that conversation will end in the narcissist name. So it'll end in, with their experience, or whatever the case may be. When you're arguing with them, or if you're arguing with them, they will interrupt you during an argument, especially if you are making a valid point. So if you're making, valid points to why you are having this conversation with them, or dispute with them. You can't dispute with a narcissist. Guys, you can't fight with them. You guys know this already. You can't argue with them. Why? Because they're cutthroat. They're out to win by any means necessary, even if it means hurting your feelings, even if it means just hurting you as a whole. So if you are speaking with them, but you're making extremely valid points, and you're pointing out their behaviors, you're pointing out certain things that just, they don't fly with you. It's just like, yo, what are you doing? Like, what is this about? What is that about? and they start to get really aggressive, or they'll as you're making your points, they will cut you off, because now they are not only angry that you are criticizing them, they're not only angry that you are pretty much, putting them in the spotlight because you're right. Now they have to go for the jugular. So now they have to pretty much be like, you know what? This person is making sense because they're seeing through my facade. They're seeing through some of the things that I'm doing. And they're right. Deep down inside, they know that you are right. They know that you have every right to feel the way you do. You have every right to say what you need to say. But because they have so much ego and so much arrogance, and it's pretty much a game for them, they have to pretty much take it up a notch. So if you are having disputes with them, trust and believe they will cut you off. They will, tell you, they'll probably throw some things in your face. This has happened to me before. They will probably use something that is very that was very, that you had maybe given in a vulnerable state, or maybe in a trusting state. They will use that against you. They will do something to really kind of hit you where it hurts most. So if you see yourself making valid points, and you see yourself saying this is not right, what you're doing is not right, and I'm calling you out on your bullshit, they will try to hurt you. Okay. In some cases, I mean, listen, before we've learned what it is that we've learned so far, a lot of the time they succeed. They succeed in hurting you because, I mean, let's face facts. You didn't know you were dealing with someone who was either narcissistic or was just a full-blown narcissist. And when you see yourself being put down, of course, at that time, you're looking at it like, why would this person say, like, how could you say something like that to me? I'm only bringing something to your attention and you come back at me with this. Just be leery of that, because it's stuff like that when they know that they have no arguments. They will not win this argument. What they will do is they will go below the belt. They'll go below the belt to really hurt you, especially if you are, like I said, if you're calling them out on their shit. Which brought me to, they belittle you. So they speak in condescending tones, okay, and demeaning your intelligence. So what they will do is they'll speak to you like you're a 2-year-old. All right. So if you're like 40 years old, they will speak to you in a way as if you are an imbecile. They'll talk to you, whatever the conversation is about, whether it be a dispute, whether it just be a conversation, whatever the case may be. They will speak to you like you are unintelligent. They will speak to you like you don't know what you're talking about. I know what I'm talking about. And of course, they'll sound smart with it too. They'll sound really smart about it. So much so to the point that even though you're sitting there saying, I know that this does not, this is not right. This doesn't make sense. They have ways of, manipulating the dynamics. They have ways of manipulating, reversing things to make you second guess. What do we learn that is, guys? Gaslighting. So even though you're making your point, and even though you're right, they're going to find ways to talk to you in a certain manner. Condescending is just like I said, they're talking to you like you're a 2-year-old. Like, listen to yourself. Do you understand what you're saying? Let me explain to you in clear language. Let me explain to you in a language that you can understand. Or let me dumb it down for you so you can understand. Does that sound familiar to you guys? If they speak to you in that way, trust and believe they have all intention on manipulating you, okay? Do not give them a chance to do that. If you give a narcissist the chance to open, basically, if you open the door and you're standing by the door and you're waiting for them to come from outside to reach that door, you're giving them time to think of a story as they're walking to that door, okay? Narcissists they'll let you talk. They'll let you say what you have to say. They'll let you, go ahead and say what you have to say to me. Because what they're going to do is when you're done speaking and you have made your point, they're going to basically take everything that they've learned from that particular conversation from your mouth, and they're going to find ways to completely manipulate the whole thing. They're going to find ways to completely negate everything that you were saying, whether they're using fabrications, whether they're using, like I said, gaslighting, because they're famous for that. They will flip everything around. So if they say, well, you know what, go ahead, I'll let you speak first. Trust and believe it's because they want you to get what you need to get out. So that way, once they've learned everything, once they've heard everything you're saying, they know how to lie to you. They know how to maybe, curve the conversation. They know how to direct it. Okay? Because if you get your word out, which is, listen, you get your word in edgewise, they're going to give you that, but that's only because they're looking for a way to figure out how to lie to you, but they need the foundation to do that. The next one, they use silent treatment to psychologically destroy you. Now, we know silent treatment is not, well, what people would perceive it to be non-communication, but non-communication is also communication. Silent treatment, we have learned that people use silent treatment when they want to have control of a situation, when they want to have control of someone who is within that situation. So if you notice if you've ever been through a discard and you are trying to, you're trying to understand what's going on, you're trying to get some kind of clarity, you're trying to get help, you're trying to get some kind of closure, whatever the case may be. If you notice that they are not talking to you, they're, they've read your messages, they heard your voicemails, all of these things, they saw your missed calls, but they're continually ignoring you. What is that? That's the silent treatment. Yet you see them doing things with other people. They're online talking to other people. They're hanging out, doing whatever. It's like almost as if you didn't exist. It's like, you do not matter to me. You do not matter to me right now. Understand that with that dynamic, chances are, while you are sitting there trying to gain clarity on a situation, because listen, I don't know why I did wrong. I don't know what I did to deserve this. I don't know what I did to be treated this way and blah, 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 and all that stuff. I'm sorry, guys. I've become so jaded with this shit that I'm just like, something? At the end of the day, I ain't feeling sorry for myself ever again. And that's what a narc will do. They'll make you jaded. They'll make you extremely jaded to the point where you just don't, it just makes me like, ugh, it makes me sick. Honestly, it really does. But chances are, while they're giving you the silent treatment, like I said, not every narc is the same, but they may be doing this too. They are already giving everybody else the impression that you can't get over them. You can't get over the fact that they broke up with you. You're too obsessed with them. You do all of these things. You're the manipulative one. You're the liar. You're the cheater. You're the abuser. You're all of this. Okay. They've already got their flying monkeys on board. They already got people already believing that you are the one who was the problem. And you're the reason why all of that went down the way it did. And chances are, and these are the more egotistical narcissists. These are the ones who love the attention. They may be going around showing people the text messages. They may be going around giving people, letting them listen in on the voicemails. I don't know. I don't leave voicemails, but if you do, they can basically play it out loud for people to hear. They may, even the new supply that they're grooming, they can be showing them your messages. They can say, listen, look at how crazy this person is. Look at what they're doing. Can't they get over me? Like, seriously, you can't get over the fact that I don't want to be with you anymore. And they're crazy. They have other people believing that you're the crazy one. And let me explain something to you guys, because this is a double-edged sword. The reason I say this is a double-edged sword is because you do have people who have been in domestic abuse relationships that give the silent treatment, that will not entertain the ex-partner, that will not entertain anybody that was completely toxic for them. This is where you have to use discernment. You have to use discernment, because there are people who have been in situations where they managed to get out of a dynamic, they managed to get out of an abusive relationship, and the person who was the abuser was the one who was consistently texting them, calling them, maybe going to their, jobs, whatever the case may be, constantly doing these things. So you do have people who try to get away from people that are like this. But if you're dealing with someone who is, who's with you, and they're dealing with you, they're giving you the impression that the last person that they were dealing with, look at what they're doing, they're showing you, and they're just kind of like mocking or whatever. Pay attention to that, guys. Pay attention to that, because people who just want to move on from a relationship that they claim was abusive towards them want to do just that. They just want to move on from that. They're not going to sit there and show a million people the text messages. They're not going to just sit there and be like, because they're doing that for attention. We're being survivors, you are giving your story because you've been through it, and you are no longer ashamed to say anything about it. But people that are like that do it for attention. Okay, they do it for the attention. They do it to gain sympathy. In some cases, they do it for clout. In some cases, I mean, you have a lot of these celebrities who do this shit too. You have celebrities that are covert narcissists, undercover narcissists, and especially I'm gonna call it out. These females, a lot of these females, they go and they run off the narrative of, I'm a woman, that's a man. I'm the sensitive one. He's the jerky one. I'm the one who was going through the abuse. And sometimes, you'll have the guys like, no, she was the abusive one. Hi, God's child. Welcome, sweetheart. She was the abusive one, and she was the one who put her hands on me. She was the one. So, ladies also understand that you have men who have gone through domestic abuse too. They go through this type of abuse because narcissistic females love to put their hands on people. They love to put their hands on people, and they see that they can get away with it because, again, they run with that narrative. So just be very discerning about it, guys. And what I've also learned is that overt narcissists, a lot of overt narcissists, this is how you know when it comes to communication, this is how you know that they're overt. Number one, they're the loud ones in the room. They're the loud ones. They have to be heard verbally. Sometimes, we can walk into a room and our silence can be so loud. We don't even need to use our vocals. Our silence can be loud in a room. And those, what they say, the quiet ones are the ones that you have to be careful of, the ones that you gotta steer clear of, because, they can be the most dangerous ones. But overt narcissists are the ones that are very, they're just very like supposedly macho if they're men, and, very loud and abrasive if they're women, the real, like, just acting really out of pocket with people. Those are the ones that you could tell they were overts. Overt narcissists are the ones that are they're just like, they're obnoxious to me. They really are. I've been around obnoxious people. I've been around very loud and obnoxious people. Like I've been around people that are like sitting right next to me, and they just talk so loud. I had an ex from years ago. I had an ex who I was actually, and it's crazy, I was actually considering not dating him anymore because he was so obnoxious. Like, he was so loud. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, dude, why are you yelling? He goes, I'm not yelling. I'm not yelling. But the way he would speak, I could tell that was the ex that, when I mentioned before that he was, he was bipolar. He was just like, we'll be sitting down and he's just, and I'm like, bro, I'm right next to you. Why are you yelling? It just, I couldn't really, if I could pinpoint it, he definitely wasn't overt, where he was very noticeable. I mean, obviously, to someone who doesn't know about narcissism, he wouldn't have been noticeable, but to someone who does, a therapist, a psychologist, definitely would have been noticeable. He was extremely vocal, and they use their mouths a lot. They like to sound all big and bad. They like to sound all mean and tough. They like to, to gain that attention. They like to give the impression that they're in control, and they got this. They got this. And this is, this is who, anybody tries to cross me on this or whatever, you're gonna, they're the ones who, like, you'll feel my wrath. Like, instead of being about it, they'll just talk about it. That's what an overt narcissist is. And of course, you got guys, you got some females that are like that too, that they do a lot of clapping them with the hands and talking with the mouth, but they're really not about that life. Now, the next thing is contradictions. Narcissists are known to be walking contradictions, okay? And I've mentioned this plenty of times in my lives, and I've mentioned it plenty of times in my videos. They are walking contradictions, okay? They can do things they wouldn't want you to do. So what is it? Do as I say, not as I do, right? Now, they'll make it known to you that they feel some kind of way about something that you're doing. And even if you're not being intentionally, you're not trying to intentionally do anything wrong. You're not trying to intentionally hurt anybody. I mean, in some cases, we do things subconsciously. We do things. We don't even realize that we're doing it, but a narcissist is precise. A narcissist they have an agenda. So they will do things that they don't want to see you doing. Okay. So for example, let's just say, for example, we know that narcissists like to be friends with their exes, right? And in this case, let's say they're friends with exes, they're friends with people that they used to date, they're friends with people that they used to mess with, whatever the case may be, okay? They're okay with having that because we know that narcissists like to have the harem of exes. They like to have the people that they've dealt with in the past around because they can rotate supply. They recycle supply. Now, if you have that same thing, and it's not, say it's not intentional, but you have that same thing, you have, exes for friends, or you have people that you have dated in the past, you manage to be friends with them. They don't like that. They don't like that because it's like a threat to them. They are the ones who get to have the exes. They're the ones who get to have the harem of the opposite sex or same sex, whatever your preference is. They are the ones who get to have that in their circle. You, on the other hand, they do not like that. They do not want to see that you are friends with your ex. They do not want to see that you are dealing with someone, or even, hey, how are you, from someone within your past, because of that fear. Because remember, their egos, very sensitive egos, of maybe there's a possibility that you may reconnect with someone from your past and you might leave them for that person. That's a possibility, because maybe, they might lose their prime supply. If there is that chance that you are reconnecting with someone from your past, or if you are friends with someone from your past. And of course, narcissists are notoriously known for being jealous. They're notoriously known for being jealous. So even if you sit there and say, well, this person is just a friend, whatever the case may be, if you're not forthcoming about certain information, that's one thing. If you say, listen, I used to date this person from the past, but we became really good friends. If you're not forthcoming with that, of course, they're going to feel, a bit slighted because they feel that you should have, told them. But at the end of the day, it goes both ways. Okay. So we're not just talking about narcs, guys. We're talking about any relationships. If you decide to be friends with exes, I do not befriend exes. I do not. I keep them out of my life for a reason. And of course, they always manage to give me the scissors to cut them off, because a lot of their actions towards me was really unnecessary and just brutal. And I can't see myself being friends with people like that, with friends like that. Who needs enemies, right? But if you are friends with exes, if you are friends with people that you may have, dated, or you were intimately involved with, you were not intimately involved with, then, if you are forthcoming about it to a narcissist, of course, every narcissist is going to respond differently. So I can't say they're going to tell you X, Y, and Z. What I can say is pay attention. Pay attention. But chances are it's do as I say, not as I do, which means I can have my exes, I can have people that I've dated, I can have people that I used to talk to back in the day, back when, whatever the case may be, but I'm going to feel some kind of way if you have that. I'm going to feel some kind of way if you are interacting with people, even people of the, it could be random people of the opposite sex. It's just that insecurity. Narcissists have extreme inner insecurities because for fear of abandonment. Okay? Fear of abandonment. Key word, guys. When you're dealing with a narcissist, you're dealing with someone who fears abandonment. Yes, they do, Alicia. Yes, they do. Narcs own the double standard. They are they're walking contradictions. And if you see yourself in relationships like that, or if you see yourself dealing with someone who is like that, where it's, I can do what I want, but you gotta come to me if you want to do something, or, I can do what I want and you can't say anything about it. But if you do something and I feel some kind of way about it, I'm gonna let you know. Some narcissists, well, first and foremost, a lot of narcissists, that whole confrontational thing, they won't even confront their own abusers. But when it boils down to certain things, if your narcissist says, well, why are you friends with this person? Why are you friends with this ex? Well, why are you friends with this ex? You could be friends with your ex, but I can't be friends with mine. Is that what you're saying? Now, if you have children, okay, because I already know where that would go. If you have children involved, it's okay to be cordial with the parent of your child. So if you're dealing with a narcissist, it's kind of a listen, it's kind of a tricky situation with that too, because if you are dealing with a non-narcissist, the non-narcissist will have a form of, being cordial with the parents of the child or children, okay? And they're very open, they're very honest about it. They'll basically let you know, listen, this is the deal, this is the situation, or whatever the case may be. I'm sorry guys, I got a little distracted because I think somebody's in the backyard. But they will let you know, this is the parent, we are cordial with one another. That's as far as it goes. Now, if you are friends, or the non-narcissist is friends with the co-parents of the child, there's nothing wrong with that, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. In actuality, a good, healthy relationship, friendship with the child's other parent, there is nothing wrong with that. And if you want to even go as far as giving the benefit of the doubt, which is what I have done, I've given the benefit of the doubt. And at the end of the day, that's another story. But I've given the benefit of the doubt because you don't know what the other parent is about. You don't know, which is why sometimes, yeah, it is important to meet the parents of the children that, of the partner that you're with. How important is it? I mean, for me, it's not that important, because at the end of the day, it's, listen, I'm with this person and I am around your child. If you want to meet with me, you can meet with me. If you don't want to, that's fine. Your kid comes home perfectly fine, perfectly healthy, perfectly safe. Because trust, if I ever did anything wrong, your child would tell you. But when it boils down to certain things, if you have a healthy relationship, if your partner has a healthy relationship with the other parent of the children, then there's really nothing to go against it. But if you're dealing with a narcissist and they are friends with the parent of their child or their children, yes, you have to be careful with it, because you don't know. What I've learned when you start dating a narcissist, and of course, this doesn't apply for every situation, but it can happen. What I've learned is that the narcissist will, while they're grooming you, or while they're like, dating you, or whatever the case may be, a lot of the time they try to make it work with the parent of the child. They try to get back in the good graces, or they try to weasel their way back in with the ex, either victim or ex narcissist, because we know that a narcissist and another narcissist can be in a relationship too. But they do sometimes do that. They'll try to, juggle. They'll try to juggle. So they'll have you as their new supply, and they'll still be trying to get back into the good graces with their old supply or with their ex, or again, their ex narcissist too. I mean, anything is possible. But if you're dealing with people who are, they're cordial. I have I'm cordial with my son's father. We're extremely cordial, and you can say it is, borderline friendship. We do have, we don't argue, we don't do any of that. I mean, a lot of the stuff we went through in the past, that's passe. It's out the window. It's done. But if you are dealing with someone who is a narcissist, you have to be careful, because they might still be holding on to that, especially if you're dealing with someone who likes to befriend exes. Again, I'm not judging anybody. You want to be friends with your ex, be friends with your ex. That's of course on you. But if you've seen my video, Why the Narcissist Wants to Stay Friends, you'll understand why psychology says it's not a good idea to be friends with exes, because if you're friends with exes, your happiness doesn't really mean shit to them. If you guys are no longer together, your happiness doesn't mean shit to them. So even if you went on to another relationship, they're not going to be as caring and as much of a support system for you as opposed to your regular friends that you've never had an intimate relationship with. I personally, I don't, that's my thing. But I mean, again, you guys have, whatever it is that you like to do. Now, well, yeah, I mentioned this already. They must know everything about you, revealing very little about themselves. They have to know more about you because they have to know how to study you. They have to learn how to maneuver around you. They have to learn what to do and what not to do because they don't want you seeing through the mask. So if they learn about your likes, your dislikes, if they learn about things that, that they'll learn about things that may jeopardize the relationship. They're more focused on that. So what they do is they focus on doing things not to jeopardize the relationship. So that's why in the beginning stage, when you're dealing with them, they seem too good to be true. It seems like a connection. You seem, like you look at them like, oh, this must be my soulmate. This is somebody who really gets me. This is somebody who really understands me, who really cares about me, who really loves me. Fact of the matter is they don't. They don't. That's the honest truth. They don't. They don't get you. They don't understand you. They do not love themselves. Therefore, they can't really genuinely love you. Okay? They're about image, they're about their desires. That's pretty much all they're about. Okay, so Alicia says, do you think codependency makes us reveal too much too soon to them? Yes. Yes, Alicia, it definitely does. I believe so. Because when you are codependent, you are you're identifying with something that feels different, right? There's codependency. We learned that when it comes to having either narcissist parents or narcissistic parents. Okay, so your parents don't have to be narcissist, but they can have traits. Codependency can make you attach to someone very quickly, especially when they are showing you certain things that, well, one, that makes you feel good. Okay. When this is why the relationship between a narc and a codependent meshes so, for lack of a better word, meshes so well, because a narcissist is already feeding you. They're feeding you what you've always craved. They're feeding you, even though it's false, even though it's not real, even though it's like, I'm just telling you what you want to hear. I'm, giving you these false promises. I'm doing all these things. They're feeding you something that you emotionally crave. And when you get those emotions, when you get those feelings, and you don't have to do anything, not at that time, you don't have to do anything in return to receive that, it makes you vulnerable. You begin to trust them. You begin to think to yourself, this person really cares about me. This person is giving this to me freely. Freely. They're giving this to me. They're giving me this platform where I can be myself. I trust this person. Okay? Because as a codependent, you identify with your afflictions. You identify with the abuse that has been passed on to you. And the narcissist identifies with the abuser. So that's the difference. They identify with the person who was giving the abuse. You identify with the feelings, the, the emotional aspects of things, because codependent people are, we're the opposite. We're on the opposite of the spectrum. We have certain similar traits with narcissists. We fear abandonment. Okay. We've, well, I'm recovered codependent for 2 years already, but codependents fear abandonment. They fear being left behind. They fear that if they don't do what the abuser wants them to do, that that anxiety kicks in. Okay? If you've ever been in a relationship with someone, narc or not, if you've noticed how, if they want to, like, be separated from you for like a certain period of time, and it's not like to say, oh, I'm leaving you. It's just, I got to go here, I got to go there, I got to do this or whatever, and you're left alone, you feel anxiety. You feel like, because codependence, even though, Butch says, how do you recover from codependency? Um, I can tell you how I did it. I recovered from codependency. First and foremost, you can't do it alone. Don't try to do it alone. Okay? You have to go for help. It's important to get therapy, because if you, even if it's just for a few times, get therapy. Therapy helps, because you're getting now the advice of someone who is a medical professional. Under normal cases, I say, how do you get over codependency? Date a narcissist. You know what I'm saying? But that's my joking side about it. You want to get over codependency, date a narcissist. But if you want to recover from codependency, you have to first incept it in your mind that being alone, being in your own company, being alone, being in your own company, one, is really not that bad. Because think about it this way: if people were willing to suck the life out of you, suck the energy out of you, because you have such empathy and you have such sympathy, and you're giving it to people who are energy vampires, who are trying to, just like, siphon it all out of you. You have something, you have a quality about yourself that in a world that we're living in right now is extremely rare, and it's extremely valuable. So you have to look at yourself at that sense. You have to look at yourself and say, if people are willing to go through all of this shit just to suck it out of me, because they're unable to feel, they're unable to, to show empathy, sympathy, they're unable to do any of these things. What I have within me must be extremely valuable, must be something. And you basically turn that energy onto yourself. Like what I did was, after went to my therapy, I went and I isolated myself. I did the opposite of what I have been trained to do my entire life. I isolated myself. I took myself away from everyone. I took myself away from the situation that I was going through with my ex. I took myself away from, the outside world. And I became an introvert. Codependent people rely on other people, rely on external sources to fulfill themselves emotionally. I pretty much, I faced my fear head on. So I, if it wasn't work, I was at home. That was it. Work, home, work, home. But I started to, I started to look up information about what it was that I was going through, codependency issues, which YouTube has a lot of videos too, where you can, you have a lot of therapists, psychotherapists, psychologists, who give you, they give you the different types of steps, the different types of things you can do to overcome codependency. But overcoming codependency really is just loving yourself. It's really just being with yourself, staying with yourself, and getting over the anxiety of, or the idea of, am I going to meet someone? Am I going to have someone really going to love me? Is someone, I'm going to be honest with you guys. in overcoming my codependency that I've become so embedded in my autonomy. I've become so embedded in my peace and just being by myself. I don't mean not being alone, because you could be alone, but you don't have to be lonely. I have become so embedded in it that I'm like, yo, I don't want anybody fucking with my peace. And if it means me being alone, it means me being alone. But it's hard to overcome. And I wish I could give you like a better way on how to overcome it, but everyone overcomes codependency differently. They overcome it in their own way. I overcame my codependency by being dependent on God. I internalized, and I went and I isolated, and I became more in tune with God. And it brought me so much more peace. He brought me so many different, I have received so many different messages on what I needed to do. And I basically utilized that to make myself one, I changed my look. Okay. A lot of us, who are codependent or were codependent, the one key thing we always internalized was that we weren't good enough. We internalized, I'm not good enough for people, because people have projected that onto you. They've managed to make you feel like you're not good enough. Well, I don't look good enough. Maybe I'm not doing something that, or I'm not fulfilling them in the way that, that they want me to. They projected that onto you. I changed my look because it made me feel good. I said, well, shit, I'm already feeling good. Now I want to feel even better. And I feel, I started doing different things to my hair. All the weight that I lost, because I had lost so much weight because I wasn't eating. I was just filled with anxiety. I wasn't sleeping. All I was doing was smoking and drinking coffee. Those were the only two things I was doing. One of my friends had to force feed me because I would not eat, because I was so depressed, because I was in so much pain. And once I had grown accustomed to being by myself, I had grown accustomed to enjoying my own company, I started doing different things. Fill yourselves up, fill your time up with things that you like to do. I started painting. I hadn't painted in so many years, but I started painting. I started baking again. I started doing things that just were very therapeutic for me. Alicia says, so true. I'm an introvert, but I realize I need to stop trying to fix people. Yes. Praying and learning the difference between love and pity is helping keep. Yes, absolutely. I was just telling a friend of mine, I think it was Amanda. She's in my Sip Chat videos, and I was just telling her there's a difference between helping and saving people. Okay? There's that thin line. You can help someone, okay? But if you go beyond, where you're helping them and they are just not even trying to help themselves, you are no longer helping them. You're trying to save them. And you can't do that. You cannot do that. You can't save them any more than you can save your best bet is to focus on yourself. So you can want to help someone, which is, the more, that's the humane way of doing things. But when you cross that line from helping to trying to save someone, not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. You have to let them deal with it on their own. You have to let them make their own decisions. Just like God gave us free will to make our own decisions. God will help us if we ask him. But if we choose to do certain things in our lives, that's because it's our choice. So as much as I wanted to help my ex, as much as I wanted to, help him in so many different aspects of his life, and help him do so many different things, and help him understand that, how he treated me was really messed up, and just I wanted to help him learn that I'm not here to hurt you. I'm not like these people. I'm not like whomever inflicted pain on you. I'm not, I'm not an abuser. That level of trying to help turned to trying to save, because once I had come to the, and it took a while before I came to the realization that this man doesn't even take me seriously. He doesn't even take me serious at all. I had already seen how far I had passed that line. I wasn't even trying to help him anymore. I was trying to save him. And I gave it up to God. And it was God who came to me and said, You need to focus on you. I pray. And listen, guys, when you are, when you have gone through the ordeal, like what I've gone through, your heart still prays for them. Your heart still, your empathy still tries to really, really just because you still love the person. And that's one thing I'm gonna say to you guys. Like, my friend had asked me, do you still love them? Do you still love him? Do you still love him? I know a lot of people are wondering that. Do you still love him? Let me explain something. When you love someone, you know, regardless of what happens, I don't think you stop loving someone, okay? Because you did fall in love with someone. Even if that person wasn't real, even if that person was just a mirage, you fell in love with someone. I don't think you stop loving people, okay? Whether it be your family, whether it be your friends or an ex. I don't think you stop loving them. But when they've shown you why you cannot, I'm just going to say it, when they've shown you why you can't fuck with them, love isn't enough. When they've shown you a level of disrespect and degradation, humiliation, when they've shown you, you know, that you meant nothing, when they've shown you that you're non-existent, and listen, whether it was truly coming from that person or not, because narcissists, they're known to play games, they're known to do things. I can honestly sit here and tell you guys, I don't know for sure because I'm not a professional and I haven't diagnosed him. My ex, do I think he's a narcissist? I don't know, but he has the traits. He definitely has the traits. And considering what I've went through, and people can understand, because people are like, wow, Erica, how do you know this and how do you know that? You know, people who are not narcissists can still be narcissistic and still put you through the ringer. They can still put you through all of this bullshit. So at the end of the day, I loved someone. Was that person real? I don't know. But I've decided to bury it because honestly, it's the person I fell in love with. I'm a widow. You know what I'm saying? I'm a widow. I've told people plenty of times when they ask me, what's your I'm a widow. And they're like, oh, wow, I'm so sorry to hear that. When did it happen? No, 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 no. It's not in the way you think. But I'm a widow because that person that I fell in love with is pretty much gone. The actual person does exist. The actual person is alive. But the person I fell in love with is no more, is no longer. So at the end of the day, you don't stop loving the person you fell in love with. You don't stop. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. You fell in love with potential. You fell in love with the idea of, that this person was being genuine, this person was being, kind, and you wanted to treat them with kid gloves. But at the end of the day, look at how it ended, and look at how they treated you. That's the part that you got to think about. Okay, Butch says, what if you don't know what you are? Codependent, introvert, even possible have narcissistic characteristics. I'm new, so I don't really know. I just started counseling and I'm still trying. That's fine, Butch. First thing is, we are all capable of having narcissistic traits. So let's keep that in mind. We are, everybody has a bit of narcissism, okay? Narcissism is a spectrum. And where you land on that spectrum, it determines. Now, codependency, narcissism, they're very similar. And I can understand where you would get confused in wondering if you are narcissistic or if you are codependent. Keep in mind, you can be both. Now, narcissistic lacks empathy. Narcissists lack empathy. Very selfish, very arrogant, very avoidant with emotions, afraid of intimacy, very, what's the term for it? Very egotistical. They're pretty much about their own selfish desires, their selfish wants. They're about fulfilling themselves. They're not about taking care of other people. They're not about being selfless. They're not about being emotionally tuned in. They are, these are people who lack, I'm not even going to say the capability, because they are capable of being empathetic, but they've internalized everything to the point where they became so complacent in living in that toxicity that, honestly, my idea of a narcissist is, well, fuck it, my parents got away with abusing me and manipulating me, and they got what they wanted out of me. I'm going to do the same to other people. Okay, that's a narcissist. Those are narcissistic traits. Now, if those traits resonate with you, where you see yourself being like that towards people, where you see yourself being incapable of really connecting with people, because you're just more concerned about your own feelings, you're more concerned about what what it can give to you, what it can do for you, what it can, then yeah, I mean, therapy is the best way to go, because they can help you get through that. But if you're codependent, because you can be codependent, think that you're a narcissist, but mostly codependents are people who are, they're people pleasers. They are the types to be extremely overly emotional. Okay. We're, as a codependent, I learned about what my problems were. I was overly emotional. Like any little thing someone said to me, if it felt like criticism, look at the different response. If you criticize a narcissist, you get anger, you get rage, you get spitefulness, you get aggression, you just get all kinds of the nasty end of the spectrum. But if you criticize a codependent, you get crying. I used to cry a lot. So like if I was criticized, or if I felt like someone was displeased with me, or if I felt like I wasn't, good enough, or if someone projected onto me that I wasn't good enough, I'd cry. I'd cry and I'd get overly emotional. That's the difference between the two. One is where they're extremely nasty and they're willing to stick you in your jugular vein because you criticize them, and the other one is just internalizing it and curling up in the corner crying because they don't feel good enough. And it's amazing how you can sit there and see two of the most opposite people that could have possibly been raised by the same parent. And it's crazy. It's really, really crazy how a narcissist internalizes their afflictions different from a codependent. But unfortunately, you the best thing to do is, if you're concerned about it, if you're concerned that you may be a narcissist, if you're worried that you may have these types of traits, chances are you're not. Chances are you're not. Because narcissists, they look at themselves as, I don't have a problem. I don't have the problem. You got the problem. So if you are worried that you may be a narcissist, that's a telltale sign. If you're worried that you might be, you're probably not. Because if you really were, you wouldn't give a shit. You wouldn't give a damn. You'd just be like, well, fuck it. I'm a narcissist. I get what I want. I don't owe anybody anything. It is what it is. And this is the way I am. So be it. And you got people that are like that too. But I don't really think, I think if you're concerned about it and you are going to therapy, you're trying to get help for yourself, you're probably not. You may have some traits. You may have some traits. People have traits. Don't get me wrong, guys. We all are capable of being narcissistic. We really are. But again, you have healthy narcissism, then you have extreme narcissism. And narcissists, people who suffer NPD, are more on the scale of extreme narcissism. Healthy doses, we need that, because that's our ego. That part is our ego that gives us our self-confidence. Thank you, God's child. Yeah, that part we need because it gives us our self-confidence. You know, it gives us our we can walk outside with our head up high, knowing that we look good, knowing that we feel good, but we are not trampling over people as we do it. Narcissists are the total opposite of that. So just, you know, keep that in mind. But keep going to the therapy. Keep doing therapy because therapy is very, very helpful. Very, very helpful. And it will definitely, definitely get you through the motions. So I definitely encourage that. And guys, the last part before I go, because I know I got a little thrown off again, which is fine because I love answering your questions. Um, they're basically they move on quickly from relationships because they lack empathy. All right. First and foremost, narcissists don't have genuine friendships. They don't know how to sustain genuine relationships. So if you dealt with a narcissist and you see that they, you know, like say you guys broke up and all of a sudden they're in a new relationship, they're in a new dynamic, they're dealing with someone new. They were already grooming that person before they discarded. They were already grooming, even if you were the one who did the discard. They were already grooming someone else. They were already entertaining someone else. They were, you know, getting involved with someone else because, you know, anyone who's empathetic and anyone who's sympathetic and just coherent, they know that, you know, it takes a while when you break up with someone to want to be involved with someone else. It does take a while. Everybody's different. But in most cases, if you guys broke up on Monday and they were already in a relationship by that Friday, trust and believe they were grooming that person way before you ever got discarded, way before you guys ever even broke up. So if you are dealing with someone who was extremely manipulative, who is a narcissist or extremely narcissistic, and they were just basically in a relationship with you not too long ago and now they're already dealing with someone else, they already got, you know, I mean, narcissistic people, you know, they can bring their kids around random people, they do not care as long as they get whatever supply it is they want. But if you see that they've already been doing all of this, that's because they're callous. They do not care how you feel. They do not care what you have to say about it because at the end of the day, you know for a fact that they must have been lying and cheating on you and doing all of this, but they've already informed other people before they even did the discard that you were the problem. Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, they don't, they move on fast because they need to keep that supply going. They move on fast because again, they have this internal fear of abandonment. They don't necessarily want to be alone. In a way, they like that's one of the things that resembles with codependency. But I've already said it that narcissists are codependents. They're just codependent assholes. You know what I'm saying? But they rely on supply. Just like a codependent relies on emotional fulfillment, a narcissist relies on supply, which is superficial fulfillment. Um Pre-discard, which means, you know, before the discard, they will feed off of your supply of feeling needed by you, feeling wanted by you. But post-discard, they feed off of your pain. They feed off of your agony. And it's sick and twisted to know that people like this exist. It's like, yeah, you know, I got over on you. I got one over on you. And not only are you in pain, not only are you, you know, you're dreading all of this, not only are you just, you know, at your lowest point, but now I'm going to rub this in your face. So in most cases, they may either rub the person that they cheated on you with, they may rub that person in your face, they may rub, you know, whatever it is they're doing in your face, or they may rub in your face the different people that are throwing themselves at them. They may, you know, make it to where you will know that they are entertaining this supply. This supply is fulfilling their ego. This supply is pretty much making them almost appear godlike, you know. And they could even be sitting there playing games with the supply because a lot of narcissists, they like to they like the idea. If you notice that, they like the idea of attention. They like the idea. They just like the attention. So they may not even entertain these people. They may not even, you know, get involved with any of these people. But because these people are giving them, excuse me, because they're giving them attention, That's what they feed off of. They don't even, narcissists, they can, listen, they don't even have to have sex. You have narcissists that are hypersexual. You have narcissists, especially somatic narcissists. Somatic ones are the ones, they're the gold diggers. They're like the hustlers. They're the ones that are willing to use their body to get what it is that they want. But you don't even have to boil it down to a narcissist sleeping with anyone else. They can just live off of the attention itself. Narcissists fear intimacy. They fear intimacy. Okay. Most narcissists will probably do pornography. Most narcissists will probably do self gratification before they even go out there and sleep with random people. You have a few that are hypersexual, but if it means just getting the attention and not really having to give, they're just getting attention. They're feeling that desire. People desire them, people want them. Yeah, they do that. Narcissists do hoover their exes to keep them stuck. Okay, so if you've ever dealt with a narcissist, they will try to hoover you. All right, even if if you're in a relationship with someone else, you're in a completely healthy relationship, whatever the case may be, they will try to, use certain tactics to get you back in. And let's face facts, narcissists, they do leave scars. They leave very deep scars, and they know that. They know they've left a scar on you. They know that they have really, really caused you a lot of pain. And they know that it's going to take you almost damn near forever to get over the dynamic. So what you, let me see. Butch says, so what you just explained with that be considered a monkey branching before discard. In what, Butch? Like as far as when they're grooming new supply, when they are because if they're grooming, because by this, if they feel that they've gotten bored with you, or if they feel that you're not fulfilling, that you're not fulfilling their supply, or you're not giving them what it is they want, or it's not doing anything for them, what they will typically do prior to discard is they're going to become, I think I said in one of my other lives, they're going to become extremely distant. But when you notice the change in certain behaviors and certain patterns, they know that becoming distant with you means that you are going to want to get closer to them. So if they are becoming, they're pulling away, they're becoming a bit more abrasive, they're becoming a bit more aggressive, they are they're picking fights with you, they're doing, just different things to kind of, because that's their way of detaching. But with them detaching, they know that, while they're detaching, they know you're going to try to pull them back, like, what are you doing? That is you're feeling their ego, you're feeling, you're giving, you're showing them that, you want them, you desire them, you're basically stroking their ego. And this is prior to discard, because while they're doing the detaching, they're already on the hunt looking for something else. But while they're looking for something else, they still need supply. So it's simultaneous. You see what they're doing? They're getting the supply from you because you want their attention, and you are practically, not literally, but you're practically begging for it. And they're still looking for that external source of supply, so that way when they get that locked in, they'll be able to, pretty much detach from you completely. And of course, during that stage, it's gaslighting. They're gaslighting you. So while they're detaching and you're like, listen, are you seeing someone else? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Blah, blah, blah. They'll be like, what are you talking about? Why would you think that way? I can't believe you would think like that, and blah, blah. They'll give you the whole song and dance, when the reality is they are. Your intuition is speaking to you. They are looking for new supply. They're looking for a way out, because it's either becoming too intense, or it's become too boring, or like I told you guys before, if they think that you may possibly try to break up with them, or you may leave them, they're basically flipping it around. They're going to leave you before you leave them. You can't leave a narcissist. They have to be the ones to leave you. And whichever way it goes, because if you discard a narcissist, you will have really bruised, you would have really hurt their ego. And they can't have that. So they figure, well, this person is kind of seeing through my mask. They're kind of seeing certain things about me that I can't hold this charade up anymore. I need someone new so I can be able to do this with someone else. And that's pretty much what they'll do. Gaslighting is a narcissist's best friend. I'm just going to tell you that right now. But yeah, so it's pretty much also when it boils down to their friendships. If you're dating a narcissist and the narcissist has friends, understand something. These friends are either exactly like the narcissist and they cover for one another when the narcissist is out doing their dirt, doing whatever it is that they do. Okay. They will either cover for one another because, of course, birds of a feather flock together, or these friends are completely innocent people and they are highly manipulated by the narcissist, where these friends are in the narcissist dynamic, in the narcissist life, because they're benefiting the narcissist. They're feeding the narcissist supply. So that's, you got to be very, very discerning with that. Yeah. So yeah, but that's pretty much how that rolls though. That's pretty much how it rolls. They're going to detach. They're still going to keep they're still going to keep you like at a certain distance, but they'll detach. And as they're detaching, you of course notice that this detaching is going on. So you are feeding them supply by constantly trying to find out, you're basically not harping on them, but you're pretty much like, what's going on? Why are we, why is this happening? Why are you becoming distant? Why haven't we been communicating? Why are we not making love? Why are we not doing this? Why are we not doing that? Because they're detaching from you because they're looking to gain their supply somewhere else. And depending on what the dynamic is, boredom, fear of abandonment, those are the two main things. Boredom, fear, or fear of abandonment. It depending on what the situation was, it doesn't even matter, because at the end of the day, if someone is detaching from you because they're trying to groom someone else, you need to let their asses go. Straight up. Just let them go. Let them go deal with that, because when I like to look at the discard, even though it's really sad, I look at the discard like this. It's kind of like, you know what? It's run its course, and even though the relationship ended when the narcissist says that it ends, at the end of the day, as fucked up as it was, the way it went down, the way it didn't have to go down. Remember what I told you guys in reasons why the narcissist has to hurt you, because they're walking triggers. And at the end of the day, they have to go through these stages, because listen, if you've seen them at their worst, you've seen what they're capable of doing with narcissistic rage. You've seen how, they can blow up, they can have psychotic episodes, they can have moments where it's just like you're looking at them like, who the hell are you? You're not the same person that I've known. You're not the same person that I fell in love with. It's all because they're not the same person. They're not. Okay? You gotta look at it that way. They're not the same person. That person that discarded you, that person that hurt you, that person that said all those mean, hurtful, horrible things to you, that person who used, your vulnerability against you, that person who just decided to deceive you, decided to just betray your trust, decided to treat you like trash, like garbage. That's who they really are. That's who they really are. And that's not the person you fell in love with. So, you may not get that person back. You may not get that person that you did fall in love with, because, of course, well, no, you know what? Let me rephrase that. You're not going to get that person back, because that person didn't exist. That was the idealized, that was something that you wanted to believe. That's all it was. It was just an image. It was like a projection, the big projection screen. That's all it was. And I wish, guys, I really, really wish that people like this did not exist. I really truthfully do, because the world would be a lot better when it comes to procreation, when it comes to peace, when it comes to love. Unfortunately, without darkness, you wouldn't have light. You know, so it's either it's both ways. We need light, we need darkness. It's that balance. This damn light. I guess this is just my cue for me to finish. But guys, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for, staying on track with me. Thank you for sticking it out with me, because this video is an hour and a half. So I guess people who weren't able to make it will be able to watch it when it streams. I do hope that I answered whatever questions you had. And, I'm going to, of course, next week, we're going to do a whole nother different list of things that, it's a lot better with notes, because at least I can stay on track with it. But and I will invest in a new ring light. I will get a new ring light so we don't. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you so much. I will definitely get a new ring light, so that way we can have no more technical difficulties when it comes to this, because I'm getting frustrated with it. But guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. I hope again, any videos you need to go through, please go through them as many times as you need to, because we need to really, really get them out of our system, okay? And we need to start focusing more on ourselves. We need to start loving ourselves more. Please love yourself more, guys, because you guys deserve that, especially people that are just trying to have healthy, long-standing, loving relationships. You guys definitely need that. You're very welcome, Bush. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. And next week, guys, let me know. Please let me know, guys, if you're okay with 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. I'm just trying to keep everything, because I would love to have more people come in, but I want to make sure that the time frames are good for you guys. All right, but keep me posted on that. I'll be working on some other stuff. I'm going to be working on my next video, regular video for you guys. I'll keep you posted in the community section with the what the topic of the video will be. So guys, thank you again so much for joining me. I hope you all have a great, great, great night. Remember to love yourself, guys. Remember, okay, these people were never real. And you know what? That pain, I know you guys felt it. I know you guys probably still feel it, but trust and believe you can get through it. If I can get through it, and trust me, I was codependent for 36, 37 years. Trust me, you can too. All right. So I love you all. Please leave me a thumbs up before you leave. I'm just trying to ramble here, but leave me a thumbs up before you guys leave. And if you have any other suggestions, please leave me a comment in the comment section. I got to get this little man to bed. It's already 10:30. So guys, have a great night. Love, peace, all that good stuff. And of course, namaste. I'll see you guys next week.